welcome to the PewterCast. This is the InstantCast for the Raiders versus the Buccaneers game, which I'm sure we all watched this afternoon. Oh my gosh, I can't believe what we just witnessed. I got to tell you, Bucs fans, I'll tell you what, before I get to the game, let's talk about something that's happening for the very first time here on the InstantCast. Right now, for the very first time, we are broadcasting live. We had some stuff get set up through Mixler, and we actually had a phone call-in show a couple weeks ago, and that kind of basically set up and allowed me to get everything in that we needed to get in order to be able to broadcast live, in order to accept phone calls. And I was trying to figure out, well, since I've already got the setup here and I've already got everything figured out with how that works, how can I continue to use that? And I thought, well, what better way to continue to use that than to open things up to you guys, the listeners, to be able to join me. And the main show is a little more complex with the editing and how we put it together and what we have going on and timing, especially with guests. But here for the InstantCast, it's just me. So I think I'm going to try for the next couple weeks, 10 o'clock on Sunday night. This coming week is going to be Thursday, so I'll have to figure that out with the game this week. But we'll set up a time. We'll do the InstantCast. You guys can call in if you'd like to call in. The number is 843-633-BUCS. That's 843-633-2827. You can call in and tell me your thoughts on the game. You can chat with me for a few minutes. We'll go through, we'll do this, and we'll just kind of open that up. So that sounds very fun. So we can do that after the games. And stay tuned to the PewterCast on Twitter. It's at the PewterCast on Twitter, or facebook.com/the PewterCast over on Facebook, and we'll give you more details in the weeks to come. This was kind of a last minute thought of, hey, maybe we could try this out. So it does look like we have one person who's listening to us right now live. We had another person in a minute ago, but they dipped out on me, and I can't say I blame them. This is awesome for what we have. Hey, look, we'll see if other people jump in. But let's get to this game. Bucs fans, oh my gosh. All right, I've been watching you guys out there on Twitter. I've been seeing what you're saying out there, and what are we going to do with this team? I got to tell you, here's the thing. My opening thoughts on this whole thing are, I'm at a loss. I am at a full-on loss for what to think about this game. Because here's the deal. This wasn't a blowout of a game. All right. The truth is we hung in there. Right? I mean, we went all the way down to the final 2 minutes of overtime. We were, what was it, a minute and 40 something when the game was over? In overtime. And we hung in there. And the Raiders are considered one of the better teams in the NFL right now, from what I understand. They now have a record of 6-3, I think it was. Or no, 6-2. They were 5-2 coming into tonight's game. They're leading their division. Derek Carr is an up-and-coming quarterback. Yeah, they have some issues. They've got some penalty issues that was talked about a little bit heading into this game, and boy, did those things show out. And but we hung in there with them. I mean, and for a while we were leading. For a while we were doing everything we needed to do to be able to win this ball game. But we didn't. And we didn't at home. We could win on the road, but we didn't win at home. And I'm at a loss because we'll go through this a little bit more, as we kind of break down the different units, but there was a game last year that Chris from Old Bucs and Brief podcast said that, I forget which game it was, but he said it was a game of two halves, and I felt very much that way about this game. That first half, I thought we came out, we were doing well, we did everything we needed to do, particularly on offense, and when we came back out for the second half, it was like a completely different team. We couldn't get anything going. I don't know what adjustments they made at the halftime versus what adjustments or no adjustments we did at halftime, but it was like watching two different games almost. Like, there was the one game where we were hanging with them, we were doing what we needed to do, we were winning, we were confident, and then there was another game. It was like it was a different team that came out that was, were they scared? That were timid, that weren't sharp, they weren't crisp. I mean, and I'm sitting here looking at my notes, and yeah, because I take notes on the game, and when I do that, I just break down my notes, and I'm sitting here looking at it, and I'm seeing notes like, Evans in his first catch was a touch, or not a touchdown, was a first down. That's great. Jameis scrambled for a big first down, and I got called back on a holding penalty, but I mean, that's a cool play. I saw Joe Hawley. He was getting scrappy out there in defense of his quarterback. So I'm tossed back and forth. Now, I see a lot of you guys out there on social media. I'm right now, I'm just kind of scrolling a little bit through Twitter, and man, you guys are tearing it up, and everybody keeps wanting to point a finger at what was the cause of this. Was it I see some people saying Cutter because he's calling things too conservatively and doesn't trust Jameis. I see some people saying Jameis because he's inaccurate. I see some people saying the defense got gassed, and that's not your word, that's mine. I'm seeing what else? One person blames Donald Trump. I'm sure somebody else out there is blaming Obama. I don't know. Cutter's blaming himself. I see that out on social media right now. All the blog pages out there are posting their report cards. So I'm not going to go in and read all of those. DeMar Dotson apparently said they're trying to give us the game, man. And yeah, they were, because guys, let me tell you what, this went out. I think Schefter and Ian Rappaport both said that the Raiders set an NFL record for 23 penalties in this game. And then I saw Jenna Lane report that in the exact same game, the Raiders also got a franchise record, or set a franchise record against the Bucs for the most yards given up. And something like 604 yards or 628 yards, I think is what I saw she said. It was and the record was 604 yards before that, which was posted up in 2012. Can I go throw up? I mean, how does that happen? How does a team come out with 23 penalties, take as many yardage penalties as they got in this game, and still get 628 yards on us? That does not sound like a good game. But yeah, we hung in there with them. There were so many times in this game where we should have put this game to bed. This game should have been a runaway. We should have capitalized on things. In fact, I wrote that in my notes in a lot of places. Oh, they gave us the ball back. We have to capitalize on it. They gave us the ball back. We've got to capitalize on that. They gave us the ball back. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to feel about this, Bucs fans. Maybe you guys can too. If you guys are out there, you're listening, you want to call in 843-633-2827. Hey, listen, I'll tell you what, if you're listening to this, you can still call that number, 843-633-2827, even if we're not live yet. If you're listening to this on Monday or Tuesday and you want to call in and leave a voicemail, you can do that. If you want to record a voice memo and email it in, you can do that. I might just play it on the main show when we record that later this week. But I can't point the finger at one person. That's what I keep going back to. Like, was it Jameis? Was it Coach Cutter? Was it Coach Smith? Was it Chris Conti? I don't think you could say it was Bradley McDougald. I saw that man out there. He was balling today. Absolutely balling today. And there were times where he got beat. There were times where he was just left back there, waving in the wind. Jacquizz Rodgers, I mean, he was out there. It looks like he was fighting hard, but man, he wasn't. He looked like a backup filling in today. He really did. I mean, okay, let's take that first play, for example. We go to Jacquizz Rodgers first, right? We have decided that we are a run-first team. We've decided that we're going to be committed to the run, right? And so the Raiders go out and we get the ball first, and the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to give it to Jacquizz, and we all, anybody and their mother could have seen that coming. We're a run-first team. That's who we're going to go to first. Jacquizz, he's been tearing up the field. So we're going to give it to him first. And we're probably going to give it to him for the first 6 plays, right? Because that's how we do it. That's how we establish the run, no matter what happens, right? And what happens? Jaquez gets stuffed behind the line. Just couldn't get past the line of scrimmage. And so then we immediately go to a pass play. Now, some of you guys will sit there and say, oh, yeah, but if he kept going to the run, that means he doesn't trust Jameis. BS, okay? Listen, we have declared that we are a run team. Our run is something that has been working for us. So to me, you turn around and on the very next play, you turn it into a pass situation. That tells me somebody got stuffed and now you're not fully confident in them. Now, I don't know what happened in that. I haven't watched the game film. I haven't watched the tape, and honestly, I'm not a quarterback mind. I don't know if Jameis saw something and he changed it at the last minute. I don't know if that was the call that came in over the headset. I don't know. And we went to Cecil Shorts. Glad to see him back on the field. We brought him in to do some stuff for us. We go to Mike Evans. He got a first down in his very first catch. And the note that I had coming out of that thing was we can't let the Raiders rob us of our identity as a running team. We can't do that. The Raiders were able to disrupt the run and force us to throw. And the question mark I had kind of coming out of that first drive was is this that typical first quarter that we see? That first quarter where things look horrible and we need time to settle down. It was at that thing. Well, I don't think so, because by the next time we came out, I think we had a pretty good series the next time. Bucs got a big stop. Humphreys had a pretty good return on the punt after that. Stupid penalty backed us up. I wrote this note. It was the most penalized team in the NFL versus the former most penalized team in the NFL. That's who was playing today. So then we'd reestablish our run. Okay, Rodgers. His first ball, it looked like he tripped. I don't think he got much past the 1 or 2 yards on the play. Mike Evans had a big catch. Throw tall balls all day is what I wrote. And I'm not gonna recap every play of the game. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But we started looking good. Adam Humphreys had a pretty big catch, and you remember that one? He kind of stepped out of bounds. Otherwise, he would have had it almost all the way down to the end zone. It was like within the 10-yard line, and then that play turned into a field goal that Aguayo made. Yay, Aguayo! # I'm with 19. Noah Spence came in on the next play or on the next series where they were on defense. We were on defense. Caused a huge fumble by Derek Carr. Gerald McCoy and Howard Jones secured the ball. I mean, it looked like beast, right? Defense was just beastly in this first quarter. Hell, even a lot of the second quarter, maybe at least the first half of the second quarter. Cameron Brate got in on some action there. That was fun to see. Russell freaking Shepard on a 19-yard touchdown catch to start the second quarter. And I'll tell you this, I wrote this. I said, thank God I picked him up for my fantasy league and played him this week. I think the guy that I had that was playing him only scored like 3 points in fantasy, and I haven't checked Russell Shepard, but he got that touchdown, so I would assume he's at least at 8, 9, 10 points for me in fantasy this week. Aguayo made the extra point. # I'm with 19. So it seemed like we were doing pretty good. See, that's where I'm getting with all this. Our offense was running. We were working. We were getting down the field. Defense was coming up with big stops. They forced a turnover. They were penalizing themselves. It was ridiculous. I swear at one point I saw Michael Crabtree walk up to one of the refs, pull the yellow flag out of the ref's belt, and just toss it up in the air himself. Pretty sure that's what I saw happen today. Pretty sure. Somewhere in the middle of the second quarter, Janikowski came out. Hargraves had a big stop. He defended it in the end zone, forced him to ring out the field goal unit. Janikowski came out. And I said, look, watch this guy Janikowski, because this is the guy that Aguayo is being compared to. Janikowski had a rough rookie year. Real rough. Just kind of like Aguayo's having. And look what he's turned into. Ride the roller coaster, people. This all I'm going to say about Aguayo. Ride the roller coaster. # I'm with 19. Somebody tweeted me during the middle of the game and said, # I'm not with 19. I got a chuckle out of it. It was funny. I got to give it to him. It was funny. And I tweeted him back. I said, hashtag ride the roller coaster. Hashtag I'm still with 19. Because you just got to ride the roller coaster on this, guys. Now, granted, Janikowski, at the end of this game, missed 2 big kicks that could have put this game away for the Raiders. And, yeah. So, what are you going to do? Even good kickers miss it. So, maybe Aguayo was rubbing off on him. I don't know. But Aguayo only missed the one, right? Only missed the one. And by the way, I'll say this. You cannot blame this loss on Roberto Aguayo's missed extra point. Can't blame it on him. That was not it. In fact, the team made up for it, right? I mean, we went out, we got the 2-point conversion, and we made up for it. No momentum swung on Roberto Aguayo's kick. Now, that's a positive I think we can take out of this game, because there was a time when Roberto Aguayo would have missed that extra point and the team could have never recovered from it. That momentum would have swung off of that, and you could palpably feel it. That didn't happen in this game. So I don't know. Robert Ayers, it was fun to see him back in the thing. He had a big play towards the end of the second quarter. Had a big run. He stopped a big run, which was great. So, thoughts on the first half overall? For as many penalties as the Raiders got and as much as we controlled the clock in the first half, to come out with 10 points was disappointing. That's the truth. We should have had more points than that. And I'll tell you what, I'm calling out the defense, the entire defensive unit. I want to see the defense start putting up some points. They're forcing turnovers. That's great. I want to see them start putting up some points. Get some pick sixes. Pick up a fumble and return it. I want to see them start getting some points. There was a spot where it looked like they should have had a safety in this game. Had Derek Carr backed up into the end zone, could have sacked him back there. I want to see the defense start putting up some points. I liked Jameis in the first half of this game. I liked him. He scrambled a bunch. He was making good decisions. We won the turnover battle. We won the penalty battle. People went into the locker room, and then they had to adjust. Right? The Raiders made adjustments. The Bucs, I don't know what adjustments the Bucs really could have made. They were doing pretty good, except for not being able to score as many points as I really felt they should have. But man, when those Raiders came out when they came out of the locker room, they imposed their will on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had their way with it. And then Donald Penn goes in and he gets that touchdown. It was a play that they drew up specifically for him so he could come in to Raymond James against the Bucs, his former team, and he could get a touchdown, and it worked. Oh, my word. Now, good for him. I mean, every player who gets unceremoniously cut from a team, maybe unscrupulously, maybe it wasn't fair. Donald Penn certainly did. He has no love for the Bucs right now because of what happened. And that happened, 2 regimes ago? Maybe in the last regime. I don't remember exactly when all that happened. But he gets picked up by the Raiders. He's playing some of his best ball he's played his entire career, and he gets to come back to the team that cut him, and he gets the first touchdown for his team in their end zone. That's got to be special for him. Yay, go Donald Penn. Why'd we ever get there? Jameis getting sacked, 3 and outs. How many 3 and outs did we have in the second half? Anybody else count? I didn't count. I think there was at least 3 of them. 3 or 4 of them. But the Raiders, man, they continued to try to help us lose this game. Continued to help us lose. Cameron Brate came up with a touchdown. Hey, that was great. Yay. Adam Humphries. Actually, Adam Humphries, I thought he had one good play in the second half. Great play by Adam Humphries. Remember, it's where he caught the ball and he got hit by 2 or 3 guys, and he stayed on his feet, and he kept going, and he almost had the touchdown. That was the one that led into the Cameron Brate touchdown. But here's what we failed to do in the second half was capitalize on our turnovers. Now that last touchdown was what we capitalized on we got really good field position, right? I don't think it was a turnover. We just got really good field position with a punt. And so we capitalized on it. That was great. You have to do that. You have to capitalize on those things. And that's where we missed. We missed capitalizing on things that they were doing wrong. We didn't capitalize on all those penalties that kept them getting backed up. I'm going to say this. Amari Cooper's good. He's so good. He would juke and juke and juke and juke. He'd beat Vernon Hargraves out of his pads. Beat him. Amari Cooper's so good. Can we trade for him? What do you think? What would it take for us to trade for Amari Cooper right now? I'd take him. I'd give up an early draft pick in this coming year for Amari Cooper, I think. What do you guys think? Call me. Let me know. 843-633-BUCS. 843-633-2827. If you get me before we go off the air here, you can talk on live. If you don't, then leave a voicemail. We'll see about playing it later. But yeah, man, Raiders stepped up. Of course, they tied up the game, right? Sent us into overtime. Because Derek Carr put the team on his back when it was needed and got the ball within field goal range. Now, granted, Janikowski missed that field goal. Missed the field goal, but Derek Carr did what he had to do. And guys, that's where Jameis is so close to being that. Yeah, I mean, Carr's only been in the league a year longer than Jameis, right? So I'm okay. It's okay. It's really okay. Let's remember, guys, everybody's yapping about Jameis and he's being inconsistent and he's not this and he's got to be better, got to get better, he's got to get better. Guys, it's his second year. It's just his second year. Like, chill out. He's still learning. I think the broadcaster said very early, he's still making mistakes that early quarterbacks make. And you know what? That's okay. Because you know how he stops making those mistakes? Is by getting out here early in his career and making those mistakes. That's how he stops. Overall, the Raiders came out and they made the adjustments they need to make and they imposed their will on the Bucs. The Bucs could not capitalize on all the penalties to put the game away. And that's what we should have been able to do. We should have been able to capitalize on it. You can't blame this one on Aguayo. I will say this. Before heading into overtime, I thought the biggest bright side was overall, in the middle of all of that, the Bucs competed today with what is considered to be one of the best teams in the NFL. People were saying that this game would go to show us if whether or not the Carolina and the 49ers game were flukes, like whether we just won to really bad teams, which I think is a ridiculous statement in the NFL overall. Because no, I don't think any NFL team is just easy to beat. You guys look at the Raiders. Yeah, they beat us today. It was not an easy win. The Raiders' first game of the season, they won by 1 point against the Saints. Saints is arguably also not a great team. Won by 1 point. Was not an easy game to win. And we go into overtime. And the Raiders shot themselves in the foot with how many penalties just in overtime? Would they get 6 or 7 penalties just in overtime? And Tampa was not able to take advantage of the entire thing. And be able to put the game away, be able to win. So here for this InstantCast, I wish that I could be more cohesive and that I could give you more of a thought. But my raw feeling of this whole thing is I'm at a loss. I mean, did we play well or not? It seemed like we were playing well for a while. It seemed like, especially in the first half. Even in the second half, we still compete. Did we compete with them, Bucs fans? What do you think? I mean, were we able to compete with a good team? It seems like it. But my God, when you look at how the Raiders were trying to hand us that game, how the Raiders were just killing themselves, and we weren't able to do anything about it. I don't know. I got 2 closing thoughts for you, and I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to be done. I think this game shows shows us one thing about Jameis. And I think it shows that he really needs more tools around him. I think that's one thing. Jacquizz Rodgers looked like a backup today. Antoine Smith looked like a third or fourth string running back coming in. Peyton Barber, I think, had one play? I don't know. I didn't count his plays, but I only noticed him once in the entire game. Mike Evans, fantastic receiver. Adam Humphries had a great nice play. He's a slot receiver, and that's really where he should stay. Russell Shepard had a great 19-yard, catch there in the end zone. But is he an elite wide receiver? No. The tight ends that we have, I mean, I like Cameron Brate a lot. I like him a lot. Luke Stalker, it felt so good to have Luke Stalker back, didn't it? I loved having Luke Stalker back. Man, some of the blocks that he was able to put out today, and then he finally had his first down for him since he's been back. That was great. Loved having Luke Stalker back. Luke Stalker's great. We're not going to get rid of him. Cameron Brate, I don't think we're going to get rid of him. But are either of those guys elite tight ends? Jameis needs more weapons around him. So where do we go? We had, 2 solid drafts that were almost all offense. We had this last draft, which was like 50-50, right? A little bit of defense, a little bit of offense. I don't know where we go in this next draft. Do we go all offense again and put more people around Jameis, or do we buffer the defense? Because, man, our defense needs some help. Still needs some help. So that's one thought. The other thought is this, and you guys, if you watch the game, if you listen to the broadcast, and you've listened to me for any time at all, you know what's coming. The announcers talked about it twice in the game. Talking about Amari Cooper. Said that Amari Cooper now expects to win. When he played with Alabama, he went out and he expected the team to win every single game. And when he first got to the NFL, he did not have that same expectation for the Raiders, but he now does. He expects the team to win. The second time that the announcers talked about it, they talked about how the rest of the team was buying into it and how it's changing the culture there. Oh, there's that word. It's the C word. It's become the C word. I've been taking some flack on this a little bit lately, and it's okay. It's okay. Different people have different ideas of what this means, but I'm going to keep banging this drum. They say it's changing the culture there. And it is. I said this specifically, this very thing in episode 2, talking about losing a losing culture. And I said one of the keys to losing a losing culture, one of the keys to transforming that culture is you have to expect to win. You have to go into every game thinking, hey, we're going to win this game. We're not losing this game. I expect to win. I anticipate us winning this game. You have to expect it. Like, we're going to win this game. Not a yeah, I go out and I expect us to win, yeah. Or not a I expect you to get good grades on your report card. Not that kind of expect. No. No, this is of course I'm going to go do that. Of course I'm going to win this game. We're absolutely going to win this game. This it might be a hard game, but we're going to win this game. You have to expect to win. I don't think that the Bucs yet expect to win. I really don't. I think they're still working on that. And look what happened. Guys, look what happened. The Raiders overcame 23 penalties, an NFL record. And they overcome the turnover. They lost the turnover battle. And granted, it was just 0-1, right? There was one turnover. We got it. They didn't. But they still lost the turnover battle. They lost the penalty battle. And they'll tell you, people tell you all the time, if you win the turnover battle, you win penalties, you generally are going to win. And in this particular game, the Bucs did not win. The Raiders won. Now, why did they win? Why were they able to stay in it? Simply because, and I truly believe this, is part of the culture that is changing out in Oakland. Now, what is this move to Vegas going to do to Oakland? I don't know. I don't know how that's going to affect them. It'd be real interesting to see. I find it highly interesting that the owner is wanting to change cities in the middle of this turnaround for this team. The Bucs still have some changing of their culture to do. It's not there yet. it's getting better. It's not there yet. All right, fans. Well, that's my thoughts. That's the InstantCast. I'd like to thank the people who joined me on Mixler, mixler.com/thepewtercast, especially since this just went up last minute. I think I gave people, about a 20-minute warning that I'd be doing this. So thanks for joining me out on Mixler. You guys be on the lookout. Be watching Twitter. That's mostly where it's going to go, at the Pewtercast. And I'll let you know when we're going to be broadcasting live, especially with this week being a Thursday night game. We've got to turn it around for the Atlanta Falcons. And we'll see how that one goes. But we'll be looking to do these InstantCasts, I think, live on Mixler at least as we go through, really from now on. The other thing that I think, I don't know, guys. I think we'll have some interesting times to get into this. You guys, be sure to tune in for the main show. It is coming up later this week. We've got a very fun guest that I cannot wait to get on this show. He is from another Tampa Bay podcast. Chris Stafford from the Bucs and Brews podcast will be joining me. So that should be a lot of fun. And, we'll talk about it then. Until then, Bucs, you guys have a great week. And, stay with it. I guess I'm going to leave it because I still believe it with Go Bucs.